I didn't talk to Dr. Khan about that four-letter R word. He asked me, were you four-letter R word? D.
Silly man said something to the effect of,
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything at all.
Of course you're being talked about, Nadia.
And there was a build-up.
There was a
build-up from...
all beautiful
maybe it was a
girls get
misunderstanding.
talked about.
Maybe you were just fond of it.
And all celebrities get
maybe
talked
it was an
about.
accident.
And
Maybe
kind
it
of
was
a
an
celebrity.
I was like, I was definitely not just fondled. and then he built it up to molestation, and I was just like, I know what happened, because I know that a fleshy substance was blocking my urine, and that had to be the hymen. My first legitimate psychic encounter was when I was 13 years old, and I was just lying in bed, and it was the holidays. I don't know if it was winter vacation or summer vacation, but I was in 8th grade, or I just finished 8th grade. And yeah, and my sister was preparing to go to college, and I don't know if she was in A-level second year, if she was going to start A-level second year, or if she had finished with A-level second year. I just know that I was 13. And the four-letter R word happened when I was 13, so it was around this time. And yeah, so back to this psychic encounter. I had this weird feeling that my sister, my eldest sister, who had just graduated from college, was or was about to, I'm not sure, again.
Stalker, rather. I mean,
I was sure that she was being harassed and bullied and pursued by someone like my 8th grade bully. I had an 8th grade bully who would sit on my desk, who would give me reverse wedgies. A reverse wedgie is what I call, like, what he would do is he would stand behind me and roll my underwear down from under my shalvar. So my shalvar remained on, but my underwear was rolled down, so I call that a reverse wedgie, because a wedgie is when you pull someone's underwear up and tighten it. So I was just lying in my bed, and suddenly I had this feeling that my sister, my eldest sister, is going through this, and I very emphatically screamed, "Leave my sister alone!" And yeah, and then I had a very emphatic and emotive experience, and I had literally welled up. And then I was kind of worried and scared, because I was like, why did I do that? You know, it's like that was a weird reaction to what? Like, what was I reacting to? You know, I was just freaking out, and it really worried me. This, like, why did I do that? You know. Anyway, and then a few days later, my mother calls me to my Taurus sister's room, and she's not the eldest, the other sister. And to show me an email from an email that my eldest sister had forwarded to my
there's a nightingale in the hall.
Sister.
And Nadia, I believe you're the rose.
Yeah, and in the email it said that, you know, that he thinks that I think your kid sister, your baby sister Nadia, is psychic, is sensitive, and I'm concerned, I'm a little worried, because sensitives are forged from extreme trauma, and I'm scared for what she's going through and what she's about to go through, and, you know, that sort of thing. And he said that, you know, he was trying to psychically communicate to my eldest sister something about wedding plans or something, and I apparently interrupted. I interrupted and gave him a headache, and after the headache, he had this, and after the headache he fell asleep, he had a dream, and in the dream he saw that I was objecting or protesting to him marrying my sister, and then, you know, and I was suddenly relieved, you know, I was just relieved, because I was like, oh, so that's what it was, everything's come full circle, you know. I had this epiphany that, okay, he was doing that, and I was reacting to him, and that makes sense, and I'm glad, you know, that it all makes sense.
Dry, cracked, miasmic mouth made contact with mine and woke me up. I opened my eyes to see my brother chuckling, "Ha ha, Sleeping Beauty," nervously. And then I rushed to the bathroom to wash my mouth with soap, because it was disgusting, and that was my first kiss. I was, I think, 9 years old, maybe 8, I don't know. He's 1.5 years younger than me. It was the most revolting experience, and I think because of it, I've been disgusted by mouth-to-mouth kissing ever since, and it's just not something I could agree to. Yeah, like, even when I was getting the role of Juliet, mainly because of what I look like, yeah, I couldn't let the lol kiss me on the mouth. I mean, he was gonna just peck me, and he brushed his teeth, unlike my brother. And it probably wouldn't have been as horrible an experience. But yeah, I was just like, no, keep your mouth to yourself. And the teacher was like, kiss her good. And I couldn't go through with it. When I was 13, I was under the impression that the S word, the 3-letter S word that ends with X, was naked people kissing each other on the mouth. So when the fat man came in, naked and disgusting and, sagging, he's 53, 54 years old, very, very inactive, very, very gross looking. He had a pot belly, he was mottled with smallpox scars and wiry, gray, oily chest hair and pubic hair and all of that. It was just like the grossest thing to see. Like the least attractive person ever. But he was very conceited nonetheless. It's like, yeah, he has a high estrogen face, which, is great for a female. I have a high estrogen face. I have big eyes, a small, longish nose, but small, full lips, almost no chin, full cheeks, that sort of thing. It's all very high estrogen, which is great for a woman. It is not good for a man to have a high estrogen face. And he has a high estrogen face. And it was just disgusting. And this person comes in and he's bullshitting about how, 13-year-old little girls want the 3-letter word that begins with S and ends with X. And he's just muttering that to himself, whispering it under his breath. Absolutely disgusting. And my response, because I thought that word means naked people kissing each other on the mouth, was stuffing my own face in my pillow, thus making my predator's job easier. I just didn't know anything about the 3-letter S word, And that's why I'm a big advocate for education. I was the smartest kid in my class up until not 7th grade. Boys are throughout disgusting. My academic life, I had to deal with parents who wanted my brother had put porn all over the computer. He had the room in the hopes that my academic prowess would rub off onto them. I'm stuck, not even able to lock my room, and this disgusting man comes in, talking about how, convincing himself that I want him. I could want someone as disgusting as him. I remember the stench of him. The putrid, slimy body that mounted onto me as soon as I stuffed my face in my pillow. I had to pick my comforter I remember darkness off the floor, and I couldn't smells of disgusting, excruciating, writhing pain, trembling. Lock the door because he gets the door with a lock, right? He gets the door. He gets the room, and it wasn't even with a functional lock. Not the pretty, dainty, high estrogen 13-year-old girl. No. I remember walking out. It's the stupid boy who gets the door with the lock. I remember and the PC watching him walking out, literally just put porn all over himself, like congratulating himself. Absolutely disgusting. I did not wake him up. I did not trust him enough to wake him up. I did not wake him up. Narcissistic, I just assumed a fetal position, psychopathic, on the bed next to his, after locking the door and tiptoeing, and I made sure. When I woke up the next day, I had a full bladder. I went to the yellow bathroom and nothing was coming out. Drip, drip, drip. Nothing. And I could feel the fullness of my bladder. I knew that there was urine inside of me. It just wasn't coming out. So I, like little Jack Horner sat in a corner, he stuck in his thumb and pulled out a plum while I stuck in my finger and pulled out a wad of flesh that looked like chewed up bubble gum but felt like flesh. And it looked very familiar. I remembered something very akin to this on the show Beverly Hills 90210. And yeah, so Brenda Walsh had a lumpectomy on the show and with local anesthesia, and the doctor was holding up something very similar to this, and she was like, the tumor's out, you know, it was benign. Yeah. And yeah, so I thought, oh, so that's why I was having colitis and dysentery and all of these things and blood and mucus, you know, in my stool. That's what dysentery is. And I just thought, eureka moment, you know, this is, so it's out. It's finally out, you know, because I thought I protected myself by stuffing my face in my pillow. Three-letter S word. We could be completely clueless relative to people our own age. Like my own brother, I mean, he was watching porn all the time. He knew what the three-letter S word was. I didn't. I was out of the loop when it came to that. I didn't even instinctively understand it. I thought, you know, the behind was for making poop and pee-pee. That's it, you know? I mean, this one time he barged into the loo. My brother barged into the loo. And I don't know, he took a picture of my hairy pee-pee. He took a picture of my, you know, wee word. And
that's another thing that applies to autism.
Like, miffed at him. I didn't understand it had anything to do with
persons
that.
Can be very smart
I was
about
13 and I still didn't know that had anything to do with
problems, but
the three-letter S word. How could I explain this to the fat, short Dr. Khan? How could I even talk to him about this? Of course I didn't say anything. Of course I didn't want to talk to this shit ugly stranger. Not to fat shame, but the morbidly obese are all mentally ill, and it's just, if you are physically ill, you are also mentally ill. That's how psychosomatic diseases work, and every disease is psychosomatic.